Isn't that one crazy? Such a big swing for such a little shot. Well, I want to take a moment to talk a little bit about the strategy behind the high lob shot, because it'll help you to get the most out of it out on the golf course. Now, the mentality here when you're playing the high lob shot is that you're trying to land it high and soft to get it to stop as quickly as possible. Usually the pin's cut quite close to you or it's running away from you. But there's a danger here, and that is if you cut that line too close, you're asking to go into the trouble that you're trying to avoid. So let's imagine that the perfect spot to land it for this shot is right here on the edge. Well, if I go ahead and try to land it there and I go underneath it just a little bit, which is quite common, I can now all of a sudden end up in the trouble that I'm trying to avoid. So what I want you to do, instead of trying to land it on this perfect spot, I want you to go ahead and try to land it farther forward. Even though it's going to go past the hole here, if you happen to go underneath it when you're trying to give yourself some margin for error, well, now all of a sudden you're going to hit it right next to the pin. If you do land it on the spot that you're trying to, well, it's not going to run very far past because it is coming in high and soft. Now, a little word about this shot: if you're having to play it more than once or twice around, that's going to be too many. That's because this shot is very tough to play and it's a low percentage shot. The tour players, though it's fun to watch them play it, they don't want to play it unless they absolutely have to. So if you are having to play this shot often, I want you to look at your ball striking or your strategy that keeps putting you in that position. My choice is about once every 2 rounds for this shot. And there's one final thing I want you to remember about the high lob shot, and that is when you're playing it, you're playing from a place you're not supposed to be. So don't compound those errors by trying to cut those lines too fine. If every time you hit it into a place like that you only make a bogey, you're not going to be too bad off. Now let's go ahead and take a walk to the golf shop and take a look at some of the equipment issues that'll help you to get the most out of your game.